Hey guys, Meteorologist Dylan Robichaud here. Just wanting to hop on right now and give you a quick update on what's going to be happening with snow in the south here. And we'll start off right now with giving you a look at the broad picture. And I just want to tell you right how it is. We are still expecting snow in the deep south, starting probably late tonight, going through part of the day on Tuesday. We'll start right now with a look at the upper level jet stream, and you can see that we have what we call a positively tilted trough axis. And somewhere over Texas in the deep south, we're going to see an area of low pressure forming sometime later on tonight. Now, we have winter storm warnings already in effect for the New Orleans area. And so we're going to see these warnings probably lasting through most of the day tomorrow. But they go from Texas all the way to the Florida Panhandle. And it's been a long time since we've had any kind of snowfall this far south. The last time New Orleans had more than an inch of snow, you have to go all the way back to 2009. So now let's get a quick look at what we're going to be tracking here as we go into the next few days. And so here's a look at our European model, and you'll notice that as early as midnight tonight, so this right here says 6Z, that would be midnight tonight, pretty much, because they're off by like 6 hours. You'll see that southeast Texas, southern Louisiana, this is when it starts getting pretty bad. By about 18Z tomorrow, so that would be late morning, early afternoon, that's when it starts getting pretty bad in and around Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And we're going to be looking at snow here down along the deep south. I mean, it's just mind-boggling that we're looking at snow this far down to the south. And you can see that initially, it's just rain to the south and we have snow to the north. But notice that as we head into Tuesday evening, what is this right here? Well, we could be looking at some ice across the panhandle of Florida. If that does happen, we could be looking at some significant problems. We'll be talking more about the ice here in one moment. But I want to start off talking a little bit about the snow. And we'll start off with looking at some of our higher resolution forecast models. And you'll notice that as we are looking at the snowfall heading into tomorrow, a lot of the models are still showing some decent snowfall amounts. I mean, in and around New Orleans, we're looking at about 3 to 5 inches, but there could be some pockets of some heavier snowfall down here. And these are your high resolution models. So even as we look at the HRRR, which will take you through tomorrow and going into Tuesday night, I mean, these are just astounding totals here, showing upwards of 7, 8, 9 inches when all is said and done. And as we look at the NAM model, this actually takes that heavier snow belt and shifts it a little bit further to the east here, showing closer to 6, maybe 10 inches. As we look at our European model, I think that this is probably more realistic solution here. You know, I don't think that we realistically see 10 inches in and around the New Orleans area, but I do think 3 to 5 inches is a pretty solid bet. And that's about what the National Weather Service in that area is forecasting. Part of the reason is because we're near the Gulf of Mexico, and so the average liquid to snow ratio is about 10 to 1. We're not looking at 10 to 1 liquid to snow ratios here. We might be looking at maybe 8 to 1 or maybe 6 or 5 to 1 because we're going to have a lot of moisture in the air because it's so close to the Gulf of Mexico. Anyways, as we head through Wednesday, notice that the panhandle of Florida could be looking at some accumulating snow. I mean, that's just astounding to me. What is not astounding is the fact that they could be looking at ice as well. That's what I'm quite concerned about here. You know, crews in the deep south, like, they're not prepared to be handling this type of stuff. And so as we look at freezing rain accumulation, you know, this particular model is a little bit more reserved here. But as we go over and look at the national blend of models, you'll notice that as we go ahead and take a look at the surface ice accumulation, I mean, you know, if we're looking at 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of ice here, that could be enough to create problems. Like, you have a lot of your fruit crop that comes from Florida and whatnot. So some significant issues could arise if that actually verifies here. Snowfall, here's a look at the national blended models. And again, I think that this is a pretty accurate depiction for the Bayou State. I mean, we're looking at more than 24 parishes under these winter storm warnings here, and this is showing about 5 inches in the NOLA area. But then Gulfport, Mississippi, I mean, some of these places haven't seen more than an inch of snow since 1997. They're going to be looking at a few inches when all is said and done. And as we go back and take a look at the ice forecasts, you'll notice that, let me go ahead and pull it up here. Again, the GFS is showing that we could be looking at upwards of 1/3 of an inch of ice in the panhandle of Florida, northern Florida. And then our European model is showing, let me go ahead and get that back. The European model is also showing that we could be looking at some ice as well. This is a little bit more conservative, showing only a few 1/100ths of an inch. I hope that this solution is what actually verifies, because if we see 1/3 of an inch of ice, it could be problematic. So again, I just wanted to hop on here and kind of walk you through all the different possible outcomes. Again, snowstorm for Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, possible ice storm for parts of northern Florida. This could be a very interesting next 36 hours.